Hi, today I'm going to be doing the Moody Reader book tag. I was tagged by Larry Has Opinions a while back, and I'm sorry, Larry, I haven't gotten to it until now. But if you're not subscribed to Larry, you should definitely do so. He does fantastic reviews, and his thumbnails are the funniest thumbnails on BookTube. Very great sense of humor, but he's has an excellent review style. He reviews not only fantasy and sci-fi, but also literary fiction and classical literature. And I love Larry's opinions. So definitely check him out. I'll link his video down below. And to start off with number one, do you consider yourself a mood reader? I would say yes, in the sense that my mood definitely affects the way that I enjoy a book or consume a book. I have a hard time separating how I feel with my mood and how I feel towards a book. I think that they definitely play a role in one another. And I also noticed that even though I may have an idea of what book I want to pick up next, my mood will often dictate for me. So I might think I'm going to pick up one book and then my mood will say, no, you're not, you're picking up this book. And I just have to go with it. So, so yeah, I think I am a mood reader, if that's how you would define a mood reader. And then number two, do you set TBR lists? That's to be read lists. And do you stick to them? Okay, well, you haven't seen a TBR list from me in a while, and I do have them. I never finish them. I've never ever completed a whole TBR list. I set very ambitious goals for myself and never complete them. But for the most part, yeah, I do usually have a TBR. Sometimes I stick to it. Sometimes there are surprises along the way. And like I said, that my mood will suddenly take me in a direction I wasn't expecting. But I do like to have some general plan. And the reason that I haven't done a TBR video in a while is because I've been trying to just prioritize a couple of books at a time to just put my full time and attention in those books, which are quite dense, like Malazan Book of the Fallen Reaper's Gale, which I'm reading right now, and I'm rereading Dune soon. So I really want to give myself the opportunity to take my time and absorb the themes and everything else. So I guess for that reason, I haven't really set a TBR. And yes, I know that's ridiculous compared to most booktubers, but in any case, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with where I am and the way that I want to do things. There are no rules here. Okay, going on from there. Number three, do books affect you emotionally? Does the mood of a book rub off on you? So I did talk earlier about how my mood can sometimes affect the way that I enjoy a book. And I would definitely say yes. The mood of a book definitely affects me 100%. In fact, there have been some books that I've really struggled through because I had a hard time with the mood of the protagonist. If the mood of the protagonist was kind of depressing, then I have found that to kind of weigh me down and make me feel kind of down. So I kind of feel I usually don't feel inspired to read books like that. And I guess that's also why I'm more inspired to read a lot of fantasy, because I mean, obviously we have characters who deal with mental health and things like that in fantasy, but for the most part, I think there's more attention placed on other areas that make it more exciting for me. So I guess that's why I would say that, yeah, so yes, 100% that the mood of a book definitely affects me emotionally. It definitely rubs off on me. Number four, when you're feeling sad, do you read or do you not read when sad? Okay, this is an interesting question. I can read when sad, but I generally don't want to. If I'm really sad or in an upset mood, then usually what I want to do is take some time if I can. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes life there are sometimes busy times in your life where you just can't really slow down a lot. But if I can, I will try to take some time, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and just sit and feel what I feel. So that's very important to me. I've mentioned before on my channel that meditation is very important to me. I do meditate every morning. And so learning to be with emotions that are difficult is considered part of my practice. And I think those things need to be looked at. So it is hard for me to read or do other things if I'm really sad. But I have been able to do it. Like I said, I think it kind of depends too. And there are different levels. although I do, like I said, try to sit with my feelings when I'm upset or sad, sometimes I do just feel like I'm just in a mood and need to do something else. So sometimes reading can help, I guess, but most of the time it's some kind of movement or exercise, running around with my dog, or watching something funny like Alan's videos. So those kinds of things cheer me up. But for the most part, like I said, if I'm really sad or there's something coming up for me, then I want to be with that and explore it. So I don't know, it's kind of complicated. And like I said, there are just varying different situations where things can happen like that. So it really depends. But yeah, I don't think I usually gravitate towards books. And the reason why is because the books I usually read are kind of heavy and dark. So maybe that's why. But yeah, when I'm sad, I don't think that reading is on the top of my list of things I want to do. And at the same time, I have done it. So very long, complicated answer to that question. Sorry. Number 5, most often do you use reading to escape, to learn, or to critically reflect? Probably all of those things. As far as escapism, I guess this sort of relates to the question before, because I do, like I said, if I'm really upset about something, I don't feel like I can just read. It's harder for me to read when I'm feeling that way, depending on the gravity of the situation. So I kind of have a hard time with the word escape for that reason, because when I hear the word escape, and I think there are different ways of interpreting this, and I think I gathered that when reading Tolkien's On Fairy Stories last month, is that when you escape something, when I think of the word escape, I'm thinking of resisting the situation that is. Like, I want to get away from this. Whereas, like, if you're traveling, for example, if you're traveling to visit another country, it's not that you're necessarily wanting to get away from home, maybe you are, but maybe not. Maybe it's just that you just want to explore and expand and just see other things. So I guess that's where I struggle with the word escape. But in general, I do find that the books I love the most are the ones that make me reflect back on my life and what I'm doing in the world, my place in the world, and the world at large. So that's how I look at it. And let's see, other parts of the question. Yeah, critically reflect. So yeah, I guess I do. I like books that make me critically reflect. And I also like books, of course, that make me learn, but it's not, for me, my enjoyment of books can't be just up here in the head. It has to kind of go into the heart. So that's important to me too, is that I'm having some sort of emotional connection. So ideally, it will hit on all levels, if that makes sense. Number 6, what is a book that made you laugh out loud? There are many that come to mind. All the Joe Abercrombie books have made me laugh out loud many times. So like the First Law trilogy, Best Served Cold made me laugh quite a bit. A lot of the Malazan Book of the Fallen books actually have made me laugh out loud, especially Midnight Tides. That one made me laugh quite a bit more. I don't know. All of them have made me laugh at times, but that one in particular made me laugh a lot. So I guess it just depends. And then sometimes I read books that are supposed to be funny and that I know everyone else thinks are funny and that they just don't really land with me for some reason. And then I'm embarrassed about it because I don't want to be the one person who doesn't find something funny that everyone else finds funny. So humor is kind of interesting that way. And sometimes I'll find things kind of funny, but I won't laugh out loud. But yeah, as far as laughing out loud, definitely all the Joe Abercrombie books. I've laughed out loud many times with those. I laughed out loud for Guards, Terry Pratchett's book, and some of the Malazan books. And then going on from there, what is a book that made you cry, or that has made you cry? Or if you don't cry, one that really moved you? Definitely House of Chains, Malazan Book of the Fallen, book 4. That one definitely got to me emotionally. Same with Memories of Ice, but I'm going to go with House of Chains for that. That one definitely got to me emotionally. Actually, some of the other books as well in the series have also made me emotional and tear up, but that one in particular got to me. What is a book that you didn't even know how you felt about? I don't know how I feel about this question. There have definitely been books where I've finished them and just wasn't sure, but usually the answer will always come out. It will come out. Sometimes it just takes some time. So for example, once I finished, this is going to be kind of controversial, but once I finished the 3rd book in the Poppy War trilogy, The Burning God, I just remember feeling kind of numb and not knowing what I thought at first. I knew I was supposed to be emotional and I wasn't. It took a while, but I started to realize why I was feeling that way and why I think the book didn't quite work for me. If you are curious about my opinions about that, let me know in the comments and we could chat. But yeah, that's one that comes to mind, I guess. Number 9, are you more likely to read on a sunny day or on a cloudy day? That probably doesn't influence me very much as far as reading. I guess if it's a really nice day, I just want to be outside maybe. So I guess that might influence me not to read as much. But for the most part, I'll read whether it's sunny or cloudy. I grew up in the Southwest where it was always sunny for the most part, and we rarely have rain. Whereas here in Georgia, it rains all the time. Actually, it's been pretty good lately, but it rains a lot more frequently here. So I've kind of had to get past the weather dictating whether I feel like reading or not. Number 10, do you usually set the mood when you read? Music, light, candles, smells, etc.? No, I do not. Number 11, can you leap from book to book or do you need buffer time between them? No, well, these days I don't have any time between books. I usually go from book to book. What might happen is if I finish a book one day, I might not read. I might start very, very slowly the next day. So I'll just read a little bit of a book. I won't try to read as much as possible the next day. So in that way, I might have a slower start to the next book, in other words, but I don't take any time between books because I'm a creature of habit and I'm too scared that if I take time off between books, if I don't read for a day, I'm just so scared I will spiral or it will snowball. And that's been since before I joined BookTube, by the way. I've tried to make reading a habit that I do every single day for the last several years. So I can't not read. I just can't not do it. I might have maybe a more lighthearted book after reading a heavier book. I have done that before, like had some kind of tonal shift with the book that I've read beforehand, if that makes sense. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So it just depends, but no buffer time, I guess, between books. I guess those are all the questions. So now to tag people, I'm going to go ahead and tag Jake, the bookish drummer. If you haven't subscribed to Jake, you definitely should, especially if you love Stephen King. He's a mastermind when it comes to Stephen King. He has read probably every single Stephen King book. Actually, I think he might have DNF'd one or two, but he has this amazing series on his channel in which he has ranked all of the various Stephen King books. And he's very funny. He's very talented. He's an amazing percussionist. And I just highly recommend checking him out because I think he's fantastic. Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and tag Pete from Ponderings with Pete. Pete is another amazing booktuber. He is so smart and I just love his videos and he's fantastic. So please check out Pete. He has some great content on there. He's reading through Malazan Book of the Fallen. He is so super knowledgeable about all types of fantasy series like Stormlight Archive and things like that. So I think he would have some interesting answers. I don't know if he's done this tag yet, but Pete, you are tagged. And then lastly, I'm going to tag Overly Average Ben, which I don't understand the name of your channel, Ben, because you're anything but average. Ben is fantastic though. I love Ben's channel. He is so funny and he's very, very bright and I love his reviews. I've found myself enjoying every single one of his videos so far. I love all 3 of these channels so much, and I highly recommend checking them out. This is my favorite reason to do a tag because I love shouting people out, and all three of them deserve way more subscribers, and I'm just so glad to know them and hope they do this tag if they haven't already. So that is it for this tag. Larry, thank you so much for tagging me. I had a great time and I hope that you all appreciated some of my answers. Please let me know, are you a mood reader? Do you think mood is important when reading? Do you think that affects your enjoyment of a book? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.